Pythagoras' theorem. Okay, Pythagoras' theorem is used when you have a right-angled triangle, so a triangle which has a 90-degree angle in it. And what it says is, if you have this length being A, this length being B, and the longest side being C, then it's always true that A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay. Now, the longest side, we have a special name for that. It's called the hypotenuse. Okay, first of all, I'm going to show you a demonstration of that Pythagoras actually works. So here, what I have is the grey square here, the grey triangle here, is a right-angled triangle because it has a 90-degree angle here. Now, what I've got here is a square which has a length the same as this side of the triangle. So if this length was A, the area of this square would be A squared. We've done the same on this side. If this length was B, then this is a square, so the area of this would be B squared. And if the hypotenuse, the longest side, is C, the area of this square would be C squared. So if Pythagoras is correct, it should be that A squared, the area of the red one, plus B squared should be equal to C squared. In other words, this area plus this area of this square should be equal to the area of this square. So let's see if it's true. I can move these areas around. Yeah, so we can see it fits. So it's just a demonstration that A squared plus B squared actually equals C squared. Okay, let's do some examples. So here we have a triangle, we're trying to find x. So basically, here's my A, here's my B, and the longest side has to be C. So according to Pythagoras, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 13 squared plus 8 squared has to equal x squared. So all I do then is get my calculator and type that in. So that's 233. And if I have the square of something and I want the actual thing itself, I just need to square root. So it's 15.3 and it's kilometers. Okay, let's try the next one. Right, now these lines mean that these two sides are the same. So if this length is 5, this length is 5. So again, we're looking for the longest side. So we know that if we square the other two sides and add them together, this has to be true using Pythagoras. So this is 25 plus 25 equals, so obviously x squared equals 50. So to find x, I just need to do the square root of 50. So 7.07. Okay, in these questions, it's slightly different because this time we are not finding the longest side, we are finding one of the shorter sides. Okay, so when I write out my equation this time, I'm going to have 6 squared plus x squared equals 11 squared. So this time I have to take the 36 to the other side. Okay, 85, and then I just square root 85. 9.22. Okay, question 4, exactly the same. We've got the longest side and we want to find a shorter side, so we're going to end up with this. If you want to do it all in one calculation, you can just rearrange it. And even we could square root now if you wanted to, so it would be basically the square root of the answer to this. And you should be able to put that straight into the calculator and get the answer. .06, and that's kilometers, and actually the last one was centimeters. Okay, in these questions we have to find y and x, so we're going to have to kind of do two steps. Now think about which is the easiest to find first, x or y. Well, you can see we have to find the y first, don't we? Because we can use this top triangle. We have two things in the triangle. If you have two things, two sides in a right angle triangle, you can always find the third side using Pythagoras. So let's do that. So using the top triangle, so that's 49 minus 4, that's 45. So y is the square root of 45. So let's write that down first. So 6.71 centimeters. Now let's find x now. So this time we have to use the bottom triangle. So we can see that basically x squared plus 4 squared has to be equal to y squared. Now what is y squared? Now we could just square this number, the 6.71, or actually more exactly the 6.708. But can you see what is the square of 6.71? It has to be 45, doesn't it? Because we square rooted 45 to get the 6.71. So if you square the 6.71, you should get back to 40. Well, you will get back to 45. So actually what I'm solving is this. So that becomes, this is 16. So I need to do 45 minus 16, which is 29. And then I just do the square root of 29 to get the answer for x. Okay, so 5.39 centimeters. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. It's exactly the same. Just be careful with these lines. So this line means that this one and this one are the same. Yeah. So if this one is 3, then this one is 3. And we have to find the x. So we're going to have to do it in two steps because we have a 4 and a 3. So we should be able to work out this length, which is the height of this triangle, isn't it? So let's just use y for a minute. So what we're going to have is y squared plus 3 squared equals the longest side squared. Now that's 16, take away 9, which is 7, isn't it? So y is square root 7. Now we could work out what that is, but we don't actually need to know it as a decimal. We can just leave it as a square root. And now we can use this triangle, and we can see that x squared plus y squared is equal to 3 squared. Now what is y squared? Well, we've already got it here. Y squared is 7. And 3 squared is 9, so we've got 9 take away 7, which is 2. So actually x is the square root of 2, which is 1.41. Just check that. Yeah, 1.41 centimeters. Okay, let's have a look at a couple of applications of this. So I'm not going to do all these questions, but let's have a look at question E. Now if we read the question, it says the grid lines are 5 kilometers apart. That's going to be important. So we want to find the length from A to C. So if we join them together with a line. Now the idea here is, of course, we can make a right angle triangle by going across here and up. So in these kind of word questions, you need to look for a right angle triangle. Now this is 3 squares across, and each square is 5. So this is 15. This is 5 squares, so that's 25. So to work out the length, let's call it x. So we need to do this calculation. Okay, and then it's square root of that, so it's square root of 850, which is 29.2, and that's in kilometers. Okay, here's another one, slightly more complicated. An isosceles triangle has equal sides of length 8 and a base of length 6. Find the area of the triangle. So we've basically got it here. We've got to work out the area of this triangle. Now the formula for the area of a triangle obviously is half base times height. Now we have the base here, which is 6, but we don't know the height of the triangle, but we can draw a line from the top going down. This is the height of the triangle. Let's call it H. Now, of course, now we've made a right angle triangle, and because it's an isosceles, the whole thing is an isosceles triangle, then these two lengths are the same. So this length is 3, and we know that this one is 8, don't we, because it's the same as this one. So now we can work out the height of the triangle using Pythagoras. So you can see from this triangle, h squared plus 3 squared equals 8 squared. So I'll just do it all in one go on the calculator now. So we get that. In fact, we don't need it as a decimal, do we? So we can I can actually just work out what the thing is as a square root, maybe. So what have we got? So we got, well, let's do it. So that's the thing inside the square root, 55. Okay, so we now know that the height is the square root of 55. And now we can use this formula to work out the area. So it's a half times the base, which is 6, times the square root of 55. And we can just do that on the calculator. So it's 22.2. And don't forget the units. Obviously it's area, centimeters squared.